All right, ready? Begin. O heno nei no ku uipo no ku aloha ku umili mili a ue pula mama nei mea hopo hau oli pu'uai aku noa o mai oe o kanani ona pua ko inoa
Johnny Almeida played every instrument. The steel guitar, piano too, ukulele, bass, guitar. He played everything. And
he wrote songs, compositions that were just so beautiful. I would always sing his songs. He is the Dean of Hawaiian music.
You know, no matter where you go in today's Hawaii, in this century, you can't help but be involved in the music of Johnny Almeida, who dominated the last century, but was actually born in the previous century. So this incredible dominance, this dynamic individual who affected and influenced so many people in Hawaiian music and kept not only the language, but the music and the chanting all going forward. We owe so much to him.
He was able to fuse the playing of the mandolin into Hawaiian music. We've already had the guitar, the ukulele, and the bass, which were introduced to Hawaii, and now a mandolin.
I think when you talk about John Almeida, to me, you're talking about the preeminent Hawaiian musician of the 20th century. When you look at the entire package as a composer of not only the mele, the lyrical content, but the music, the fact that he was a multi-instrumentalist and could play basically anything he put his hands on, his perspective as a native speaker of the language.
He kanaka ku mamua o kona manawa, ma keia hana haku mele, I kona maula, no ka mea apo oia I nā mea o ke lava manawa, a haku ia I loko kana mele.
The music that he composed was quite exciting. When you hear his music, you want to know the man.
John was a sweet man. He was just like the songs he wrote.
You know, if he was talking to someone, it was always in such a nice, mellow tone, no anger.
his illumination was reflected in so many people whose lives that he touched, not only through his music and his singing, but also the things that he did for people.
Johnny Almeida was a 5'2" dynamo with his trademark dark glasses and his trusty cane buddy, as he called it. And he was tireless. And if you were a woman, he would get to know you soon. And he would sing to you and you would fall in love with him.
He was a producer, he was a band leader, he hosted a radio program. He was a man of many facets, so not one thing was separated from the other.
I ko mana'o o Kameaaloha ka pu'ukani me ka haku mele o I kela kela o ke kenikuli wakalua.
Nui ke la ike I ho'ohana ia e ia. Ma ka ao o kona hanai ia ana he Hawaii, he mana leo Hawaii. Nā mana'o, nā kuana ike Hawaii. Hui ia me nā ao mele o ia maula.
Makes him a really all-around man, and I think that's remarkable. That's what makes for a great songwriter.
Whenever he started playing his music, everybody, they just light it up. Because I know, because you feel like dancing.
I grew up with Johnny Almeida's music. While cleaning house and doing everything, going to hula, his records were always on the phonograph. And so, you know, we just got that stuff in our ears, in our minds, and in our hearts.
He was very nice to entertain with. He was just, you know, so nice to us, understanding us very young and not being there when he wanted us to be, you know.
He must have been an incredible showman live. You know, I wish I could see, you know, recorded performances of him when he was younger. He must have been captivating for an audience, and you can see why, you know, women flock to him.
With love, lots of love. This is what they found in him. It wasn't just his music, but everything was all heart.
A giving man, a generous man, a warm man, in every sense of the word, and a classy man, a gentleman, who knew how to have fun though. You know, he was no stuffed shirt, but there was a time and place for everything, and this man knew what time and what place. Made him so wonderful.
Johnny Almeida is great because he's the embodiment of the previous century that he lived in. You know, he was born at the very end of the 1800s, and he learned his music at the turn of the century. So he gave us the language, the music, and the lyric of another time. John Kameaaloha Almeida was born on November 28, 1897. We all believe that Johnny Almeida is a Hawaiian born in Paoa Valley, and he was named John Kameaaloha Almeida, but that wasn't so. He was actually born John Celestino Almeida Jr. Early in his life, his Portuguese father returned to Portugal and left the family behind. His mother, Julia Almeida, took his sister Annie and young Johnny to Waianae. In Waianae, they hooked up with Paulo Kameaaloha. He eventually hanai'd Johnny and Annie, and Johnny gained the name Kameaaloha. He was just an incredible man with a wonderful, warm heart and a huge personality. And you never really truly appreciated that he was doing all of this in spite of being sightless.
My great-grandmother, his mother, her name was Julia. And she was a lace seller, They're up in Po'oa Valley, way deep in the valley. She was picking Miley. At that time, she was, I guess, ready to give birth to him.
Hana ia o ma paua, malalo ke o pu maile. Ele ko umkuhini ki I maile, me kona ohana. Ke la I an, o hana main ho ia. Noi mahe I hapa I no I ko umkuhini kaya. E ma mile me kapa. Me kahine ia o I hana ia.
O lelo ia e ke kahi poe mamuli o ke kohu o ka maile I luna ka mana lima pako kua hine no ke ia ana I ka maile malama ana ke I pepe hou a kai a hanau mali a pā ke la kohu ka mea I komo I loko ka maka pilikia ka maka pela I makapo mai ai mai ka hanau ana mai.
By age 6, Johnny was losing his sight. It was diminishing, and by age 10, he was completely sightless. We do know that age 4, when he still had a lot of his sight, he embraced the ukulele. He saw that if he performed, he could get the appreciation of an audience. And I think he carried that image in his mind for the rest of his life.
Hui ko no imena maku ko aina foi la foi ofisio I mai ka o kan pila a hele ko no I le me ka o he ukulele o me ka ukulele a hoya I ki pani hele ko no male le ho hanai kan no ka ukulele.
He learned how to play all of these instruments, you name it, the mandolin, the banjo, the guitar, the ukulele, the piano, the saxophone, the steel guitar, on and on. So all of his energy and knowledge was all focused on music and lyric and everything else that goes with it.
As youngsters, we used to sit in awe that this man can't see, but he can produce such wonderful poetry and things like that. And never complained about his condition. I never ever heard him complain.
And I think this man did not feel sorry for himself. I think he understood the talents that he had and the gifts that he had, and he wasn't about to let nothing stop him from sharing all of this. And that propelled him towards greatness. He was a charmer, a very charming man. I mean, he had a way with words. And, well, it's plain to see in his song, the way he used words.
Me oi au pu me hana ka ua me oi olo nei pu mai ai ala wei halilo ana lilo o ia u.
All of his songs were about women. He, symbolically uses the flowers as his object or his subject, the women. Ku'ipo pua rose, for example. He aloha ku'ipo pua rose. Again, his melodies. They have this climb and decline. And, it's kind of like romance when the heart beats quickly and then it subsides and then it gets bigger again. It's exciting because I can feel that kind of romance.
Johnny's wife, they would come and she would let him start the conversation.
Her name was Elizabeth Nahaku Almeida. They were real close, and she did a lot for him.
Oh, my father and my grandfather, they loved each other dearly. And I know my father was always so concerned for him.
Being father and son, I know Pua had that talent and he learned it from Uncle Johnny. Pua was always guiding him, Papa, this is your turn. He comes in and sing. And then it's, Papa, we're going home, which means ha'ina ia mai ana kapuana, you know. So he get in and sing his part, and it's pau.
You know, I think he was so strong that determined that look at what a beautiful life he had.
Hawaiian 105 KINE, the Hawaiian music station, playing the best mix of yesterday and today. Hey gang, it's Harry B. Soria Jr. and coming up I'm going to play John Kameaaloha Almeida, the Dean of Hawaiian music. We're going to hear his version of Kiss Me Love, coming up next on Hawaiian 105 KINE. We know that he made his first group approximately the age of 12. By age 15, he was performing with a group called the Waianae Star Glee Club. He played at the Hawaii's last royal funerals. He was becoming more and more demand. The first records were Johnny's records, and he must have gone to George Ching's record store, Maestro Music, downtown Honolulu, and asked him to sell these in the store. They went well, and George Ching said, you know, I can help you with this. We can do a lot more records, and we should call it 49th State.
And he named his company 49th State because we were a territory at that time, and we all thought that we were going to become the 49th State. Later on in 1959, we become the 50th state, but he still kept the 49th State label.
After 49th State Records closed, John Kameaaloha Almeida, the music teacher, got a building that adjoined the George Naope studio, hula studio.
I had my hula studio on King Street, and I was done. I had two studios, and anyway, we both worked together.
Now, Uncle George Naope did many of the first recordings, or the most well-known recordings of John K. Almeida's music. And many other recording artists would come, like Auntie Kili'i-chan, Auntie Ida-chan.
No kapua lo ke lau ke aloha, no kau ika ika veki.
We always went down to Uncle Johnny's studio and Paani Pila down there. And he would enjoy it so well, and he would just sing on the side of one of the songs so we could don't stop. We had a lot of music around. Music was the thing, you know. And everybody sang, even little kids. You can see them walking in around and they're just humming a tune or whatever. So.
Johnny Almeida was an amazing man because he was able to do so many things. He, of course, a recording artist, but he was also a radio personality. He had his own radio show along with Charles E. King, who also had a radio show, and they had it on Hawaii's first radio station, KGU. In 1946, Genoa Keawe was listening to Uncle Johnny on the radio.
He was announcing over the radio that evening that they were they wanted to ask anybody who can sing, anyone who can sing, to call him up, and they could be on his program.
And how she got in there was my birthday, and she went up and told Johnny that called him and says, I'd like to come up and sing a song before, you know, sing a song for my niece, it's her birthday.
When I went to sing that evening, he said, I want you to come and sing with me all the time. So that's how I got my start with him.
She comes and sings on his radio show, the people like her, and she comes again. And so Uncle Johnny is going to take her as his protege, so to speak. She is going to be the voice that's going to interpret his songs.
And oh, she had a beautiful voice. And of course, he pushed her, he trained her, and I know she gave him all the credit too for that.
He was called the Dean of Hawaiian music.
That's
Yeah,
just what
you know,
he
they said
is,
the
the
Dean of Hawaiian
Dean.
music.
Johnny Almeida was so dominant in the 1930s and 40s and had so many musicians in his stable, and he promoted many young protege. This type of support made many of these musicians be indebted to him for the rest of their lives. This great man, how he influenced the next generation and the generation after that of Hawaiian music, and I dare say, even today, his tremendous influence is felt.
Everything I do, Uncle John taught me. All my songs, all my singing, I keep it to Uncle John's style.
A man that can't see, and for him to write these beautiful songs, it's really touching to everybody, you know. How can he see in his mind about this beautiful woman or flowers or the islands, you know? It was just, they gave him just their big aloha on every island.
I remember being in the car with them, and they were going down towards La'i, and we got by a beach, and he said, "Oh, we're at such and such a place," and we said, "Yes, as we are going along the beach there," and he says, "Oh, he could smell the limu," and he would name the different areas as we went along. He would pick up on things that we who can see and smell and everything else never thought of.
O ke la kane makapu. Pehena oia iki ai. Iki oia me ka milimili a kona lima. O wau me ke kahi hoa aloha e ae. Kama ili o ana no ke kahi po. O lelo oia, nina mai oia o kama. Aka mai ke ia kupuna. A ohe ona ike, a aho ike ka maka. E nae, kona wewe ana i na ano o na wahine, na ano ala o na pua, keu aka maikai. Keu aka maikai.
He would take you through every kind of sensory perception, like the feel of something on your skin, the smell of the flower. He'd talk about what he was hearing in the background, you know, the noises that you hear. And so the whole song, as it was laid out, was like taking you through different senses, different songs.
We know that many of his songs talk about flowers, and on the first level of literal translation, he is singing of flowers and the beauty. However, in the inner layers of the kauna, the double meaning, we learn that he's singing about so much more intimate details of women that are represented by the flowers.
Kawana, when you define it, means the soul of a song, or the spirit of a song. You have the song that speaks to you in plain language on the surface. Then there's an underlying meaning to it. And these underlying meanings are usually, most often than not, carried out through symbolisms in language. The only person that absolutely knows the true kauna of a song is the haku mele, or the composer himself.
We were talking about green rose hula and the physical characteristics of the green rose. You know, it's kind of rough, and, you know, perhaps did he choose that particular flower because that was the characteristic of the woman that was being described in the song?
Your loved one, the one you hold close, has a sweet fragrance, has a memorable fragrance. Well, just like some of the songs that he's written, and uses those flowers, either by beauty, what they look like, or their fragrance. And I think it's just wonderful. It's such a romance.
You know, a lei is like an embrace, somebody's arms around you, and it falls over your heart. And so all these endearing terms, he knew how to touch other people's senses because his own senses were heightened.
It's not just about the mountain. It's not just about the tree. It's not just about the flower. There's so much more, and that's where the Hawaiian language is such a beautiful poetry, because in the verses, in the words, in the connotations, buried in there for only the native speakers, are the true underlying impact of the verses.
He would put in the English language in most of his songs, you know. Maybe Mahina would be kind of odd if he wrote the song Mahilani, which is the full moon, but he wrote it as Mahilani moon. And all these songs that he has, he always added an English word.
Supposed to have nice voices. Good, good, nice. He aloha. His greatness stems from his musical compositions. Now, in order to be a good composer, you have to have a good command of the Hawaiian language. Johnny Almeida had a good poetic sense of the Hawaiian language.
No ka hui mua ana me Johnny, no ka no'o o waila na ke kupuna mua loa e kono ai no ka kipa ana I ke papahana le kio ka leo Hawaii. Ma ko'u ho'omana'o ana, no keia ho'okumu ia ana o ka leo Hawaii he papahana le kio ma KCCN ia maula. O I hoi ma Pepe Luali, ma ka hiki Umikumaiwa kana hikuku malua I ho'omaka I ai. A o ka mana'o nui o keia papahana, e kono I nā kupuna o lela Hawaii, nā mana leo o lela Hawaii. No ka ho'olaha ana I ka o lela Hawaii ka lehu lehu. Ka mana'o no ia I no'o ia e ke ia hui haumana I kapa ia o ka hui aloha aina tuahine.
There's a particularly poignant point in one of the tapes where they were talking about the state of the language, and you couldn't see them, but you can tell all of a sudden his focus moved from the people that he was in the room with to the listening audience. saying to everybody that was listening, how about you folks out there? What are you doing to help to keep this language alive like these students here are doing?
Aloha noi ka olelo makuhini. Ka olelo ka olelo makuhini. E he oku na Hawaii. Yeah. Aore oku pui. Na oku ke olelo. Ai, mahalo ko ohana. Ya, ani ka olelo Hawaii. Ia ke tama ili Hawaii ni me oku. Aore ani oku o ano. Hapa ke tuki happy Hawaii. Aore ni wala oku ke oku. Ke wala oku ni ya oku. Ole la na Hawaii lo hono ia. Malam ko olelo. Malam ka olelo. Olelo mai ka po ke make ko ni na olelo Hawaii. Aore. Ke olelo mai ni no. Ai no ia oi. Make o malam ka olelo malam.
He didn't know if the language was going to live or not. But through his music, through his compositions, his recorded performances, you know, he planted the seeds for that. And I think it's important for us to realize today how vital the music was to the revitalization of the language.
Eia mai o sui palilo, koi poi ke kapua ani ani. Eia mai ne o sui palilo. If you are from Hawaii, these songs are your songs, and you should learn them. Learn to sing them and learn the translation especially, because it's beautiful. It's not a song that of something that you won't even know about, but just the translation alone makes it so beautiful.
Embracing an older expression of Hawaiian music gives me great encouragement, because I know that things will change, arrangements will change, interpretations will change, but as long as we have the language and the hula, we have the young Hawaiians who will take it to the next place.
There's Aoya. It's almost seems to be a cross between something like an ala apapa and a hula ku'i, in that it's somewhat free form. The lines are of varying lengths, but it seems to be done in couplets. You know, there's a pattern to it, even though each couplet varies musically.
Modern Hawaiian melody, but able to maintain the Hawaiian flavor. That is really, really interesting. He uses these sophisticated minors and diminished chords, but he maintains that Hawaiian flavor. He was a master at that. Very few people could do, but he did it.
You could sing through every one of his songs, but yet, you know, musically feel a different way, enjoy it a different way. And then you look at the way he composed, you know, he uses lots of different techniques as a composer. So it's just completely enjoyable. It's wonderful to sing, great to dance.
Sweet and lovely, ke o na na ho Kamehameha. Ho ipo ke ala, ho he no shui ka
His words are so great for hula because the words are concrete enough so that you can make physical movement. Because sometimes songs are too abstract. That the hula teacher, the hula dancer will have a very difficult time working through the words. But his words got concrete movement. Plus his timing is great for hula timing.
Johnny Almeida's music lives through many things in Hawaiian culture. Not only music, but hula. I mean, it's such a beautiful art form to be sharing Hawaiian music. It comes out of you. And when I sing, I try to live the song.
We just started dancing a mele composed by Uncle Johnny, and that was Lovely Sunrise, Haleakala. You look at the words and you listen to his composition and you go, you know, this guy, he's really seeing the world around him.
Beautiful Haleakala sunrise, ike a ike ike. Pa'a ia mea ikena maloko o kana I haku ai. Ai. No leila, e apu ana o ia ke mau mea pau me ka ike ole kona maka. A ka mana mea ea I lako ho'ohana nui o ia. Ho'ohana nui o ia ka mea ilo ai aia. No leila, he kalena nui ke la.
What you'll see the dancers do is really dramatize the magnificence of, if you can imagine the sun, a huge arc and then rising up and just being so splendid, as it comes up. And the second verse talks about the mountain range around and just how magnificent it is. It says ku kila kila, standing so proudly and majestically. So the hands will come up for the choreography and almost gaze up as if there's kind of insignificant thing looking up at this mountain that's been there forever. So the choreography really talks to the grandness of Haleakala.
His greatness endures because the hula will always be. And we always need great stuff for the hula. And his stuff is just absolutely terrific for the hula. We still dance and sing his stuff, untouched. He doesn't mind you walking into his life through his songs because he knows that you went through the same thing too. He wants you to know that these wonderful things happen to everybody, no matter where you are in the world, no matter where you are in time. And I think by making that connection between what he felt and what you feel is going to make it go on and on and on, and it should. It deserves that.
The stories he wrote about is forever, He talked about humans. He talked about relationships. He talked about the things that we see every day. He did it so well that they're classic. That they were good 50 years ago, they're good today, they're going to be good 100 years from now. Johnny Almeida is a great composer, a wonderful haku mele. His songs will live.
I think he'll live on forever and ever because of the music that he wrote, the songs that he composed. These are songs that everybody loves. You can do a hula to it, you can just sing. The young people are still singing it, and they're learning more and more.
When you bust out an old song like John Almeida's music, like in front of all the aunties are like, oh wow, you know that song? The more old it is, the more people don't know it, I think the more treasured it is, or it should be treasured. So that's why to learn these, you kind of perpetuate what this music is. And
I hope I'm, doing enough to get the young generation to sort of learn, the importance of old traditional Hawaiian music, as well as Johnny Almeida, Lina Machado. I've listened to people like Lena Alahaile, just to name a few, and I want to try and perpetuate it as much as I can by just singing it and trying to make it my own, but not changing it.
When I'm able to sing, I make sure I stay Uncle Johnny's style. That's what I'm known for. Stay Hawaiian. I love Uncle John, and he taught me a lot. And I owe him a lot too.
For those younger Hawaiians, or those who are going to be studying Hawaiian music, Hawaiian culture, Hawaiian life, just period, you're gonna get a good window into this by looking at his poetry, how the Hawaiian mind thinks, and how the Hawaiian heart feels. It's captured in there.
They have beautiful songs. It should be kept. And then there's no problem with somebody else trying to sing the song. We should share, because that's Hawaii, right? That's the way.
1, 2, 3, 4, ready, and.
I'm glad that you are doing this for Kamehameha School. If anybody needs all this kind of thing, it's the Kamehameha School.
Just to see young Hawaiians like singing old stuff, it just shows that everything's gonna keep going, everything will keep spinning, and nothing will die. I think that's what I'm trying to say. There's always hope. So I think in Song Contest we perpetuate what John Almeida did in this case for us, and what we can do for him by keep going, by keep singing his songs.
I think if he were alive today, he would be so proud that the young Hawaiians at Kamehameha Schools are featuring his music in this way. I know that he would no doubt attend, and he would be very, very proud to hear these young people singing the lyrics that he wrote so many years ago. But I assure you, he is going to be listening.
I'm just glad that my grandson, Jeremy, is really into the deep Hawaiian music of Johnny Almeida. And then he knows all of the composers of the old songs.
For them knowing these old numbers, I feel in their heart that they love the songs and they want to be the ones to carry on and do it. And when I sit back and listen to them, I just feel that, well, they're going to carry on and not let it die, you know.
No Kameaaloha, o kana mau mele, e mau mele ola, ina he Hawaii oe, a'o mai oe I kana mau mele, holo mua nanu, ola nanu.
This man was special to everyone. People loved him so dearly.
and he is still loved by the music that he is sharing with all of us today.
Mahalo i nā pū Hawaii, ko kua ana mai.
Kanaka o pio hano hano kaula nai ka vai vai Pane mai e ka o pio e kupu haku mai ka I He haho I ka ue hana ku